Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today we are going to be going over the latest episode of Power Book 2 Season 2, episode number 5 called Coming Home to Roost. And guys, I really like this title. You know, it's very befitting for everything that's going on in this episode, especially at the end, right? So let's get into it, okay? The episode starts off with Monet, Davis, and Zeke going to turn Zeke in, right? But when they get there, they receive the news that Zeke is no longer a suspect. Well, at least that's what Kamal was trying to tell them, but Whitman cut him off, okay? All right, because he's still obsessed with making Zeke a suspect, and that's only because he's jealous and bitter that Carrie been getting it on with Freaky Zeke, okay? Anyway, Kamal tells Whitman that he needs to let this thing go with Zeke, all right? Like, how long is he going to be your suspect? So after Whitman tells Kamal that it seems a little fishy that Ramirez's body, which exonerates Zeke, just mysteriously shows up the day after Zeke craps his pants on national television. Kamal says, look, Zeke is not our only lead, and I've been reading Jabari's novel, and I found that a few of the locations in the book match up with some of the Stansfield landmarks. So here's the kicker, guys. The one thing that drove Kamal to really pay close attention to Jabari's novel is that his first novel was inspired by actual events. So now they need to just find out if Reynolds got himself into something that's not so fictional, right? Next, Tariq goes into his dorm and he clears all the incriminating things out and tells Brayden that if any of the Tejadas come around looking for him, to say that he did not see him. Next, Mecca meets up with Monet at the bar, and once again he lets her know that he wants to take care of all her kids, not just Zeke. He also shows her a document that all Monet has to do is sign, and her kids will be set up with trust funds. So in this scene, Mecca answers my question, guys, all right? The one that I asked in my last video about who Monet should choose. I basically asked if Monet choosing Mecca would mean that she would still be in the street life or if he was going to turn her into like a hustler's wife or something like that, right? But we see in this scene here that Mecca is offering Monet a way out, right? For her and her kids, a chance to start over. But you know, Monet tells Mecca that she's not looking for a redo and that he's just too much for her right now and he should leave. So Mecca says that he is not leaving New York without her. Next, Professor Milgram decides to bust up in canonical studies in attack mode, okay? She writes the word karma on the board, even though it wasn't in last night's reading. So when she says, who can define karma for me? A few students start giving her some answers, but she's only concerned in what Tariq has to say. And Tariq is just like, I'm not sure what you're looking for, okay? So this scene really pissed me off, guys, with Professor Milgram because she only did all that because Kamal asked her to read Jabari's novel. So I guess she figured that Jabari was talking about Tariq in the novel. But my thing is, how did Professor Milgram read Jabari's manuscript that fast, okay? Because they just gave it to her. All right, now maybe it's a short manuscript. I don't know, but I ain't like how that all went down. It was just too freaking fast. Anyway, so next, Monet comes up to the school and she's looking for Tariq, right? She takes him for a drive. And of course, she confronted him about the situation with Jabari. And he told her what happened. His story matched with Kane's story, right? So Monet tells him that she's not going to kill him this time because they need each other. But she tells Tariq that in order to earn her respect back, he has to find out who Kane's connect is. Then she tells him to find his way back. And I'm like, I swear this kid is always being stranded by the Tejadas, you know? Anyway, next, Carrie tells Kamal and Whitman that she's sure that Jabari's drug dealer character is Tariq. So Whitman says that the details in the book don't match up and they need evidence that proves Tariq knew about the book. So Kamal says we need to get something on the wire because the wire is key. So that's when we get to another scene where Professor Milgram tells Lauren that she's going to have to keep wearing the wire because Lauren came saying, look, I can't do this anymore, right? So after Professor Milgram is like telling her, look, you can't stop now. You need to continue to help. Lauren's first instinct was to tell Tariq to stay away from Brayden because she didn't want Tariq to get in trouble. But my thing is, she shouldn't have kept wearing a watch around Tariq. Like, every time Tariq came around, we saw that she was taking the watch off. So I don't know why the heck when later on when they went to see the apartment and all that stuff, why the heck she kept wearing the watch. Like, she knew she was going to be around Tariq for probably a nice amount of the day. Why did she have the watch on, you know? But I guess because she knew she was going to be probing some questions because, and I am jumping ahead, but the detectives were kind of like really pressuring her to turn it up and get more aggressive and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's not cool. I really did not appreciate how they were manipulating this girl and how they were really just forcing her to do this. I felt like it's basically putting her life in danger. I didn't appreciate it. But anyway, so Professor Milgram tells Lauren that she can't tell Tariq because he'll tell Brayden. All right. So next, Kane vents to Mecca about Monet letting Tariq slide with the whole Ramirez thing, right? Because he's basically mad that Monet didn't come down hard on Tariq like she did on him. So Mecca tells Kane to not let Monet pick Tariq, right? Be the right option if she's giving you a chance to show and prove yourself. Like, give her no choice. Do not let her pick Tariq, even if you have to force her hand, right? And these scenes when Mecca tries to help Kane get ahead of Tariq really have me wondering what the heck this is really all about, right? You know, like, does Mecca have it out for Tariq or something like that for some reason, you know, because Mecca be knowing stuff. But anyway, next, Tariq asks Diana if she could ask Kane for some product without Monet knowing, right? But Diana, she wants to know why first, right? And he tells her it's so that he can get his sister out of foster care, and that means lawyer fees and a down payment on an apartment. So Diana says that she'll ask Kane, but she doesn't trust Kane either, and she wants Tariq to find out information on him. She also tells Tariq that she's pretty sure that Kane switched the coke with sugar, right? So after her and Tariq agree to help each other, Diana meets up with Kane to ask him for the product for Tariq, right? But Kane says he's not giving up nothing until he knows why, right? So Diana tells Kane about the custody hearing, and this is exactly what Kane needed to hear, right? Because we already know that Monet told him to find out what Tariq's weakness was, and thanks to Diana, now Kane knows, right? But even after Diana told Kane, he refused to help Tariq, right? Because he don't like him, and he says, you know, this sounds like a Tariq problem, right? But Diana threatened to make it a him problem by telling Monet about the powdered sugar switch, right? If he didn't help. So, of course, he did, right? Next, Kamal and Whitman agree that it's time to look into Tariq, right? Take him more seriously as a suspect. This is because they heard Kane on the wire when Lauren went to Tariq's dorm looking for him. And that's another thing, guys. Kane, he's up at the school too freaking much. And I feel like this should be something that should be taken into consideration when they look into Tariq's case, you know. But I'll talk about that a little later, hopefully, if I remember, right? Okay. Next, Tariq sends Brayden to pick up the product from Kane while Tariq waits in the cut so he can follow Kane to the supplier. So everything seems to go well, but Tariq gets out of the car to start taking pictures, right? And Nuff comes behind him and starts tearing him up, okay? It's so easy to beat Tariq up, all right? Anyway, so of course this was because Kane denied knowing Tariq when the chef saw him on the camera, right? The chef said, "Do you know him?" And Kane was like, "Nah, I don't know him." All right, but the chef, he's not stupid, right? He let Tariq catch his beat down for a minute, but then he stopped it and Nuff let Tariq go. But unfortunately, Nuff got Tariq's phone, okay? Then Mecca gets in and he asks Kane again if he knew the kid who showed up, right? And he also asked if Kane let the kid follow him. But Kane keeps the lie alive, right? And so Mecca decides to believe him. So Nuff was like, wait a minute, you just gonna take his word for it? So Mecca says to Nuff, if you didn't know he was with Mahoney, you should have never put your hands on that kid. Then Mecca says, one civilian complaint puts us all at risk. Then he turns and gives Chef the nod, and guys, I already knew what that meant, right? I knew what was coming next. Chef quickly sliced Nuff's neck, okay? And just like that, Nuff was bleeding out over the ice. Next, Tariq shows up late to the apartment showing, looking crazy because his face is all beat up. So the realtor tells him that she gave the apartment to somebody else. And I'm like, that quick? Come on now. So Lauren takes Tariq to her brother's apartment and tells him that him and his sister could stay there. She even gives him a lease, okay? And Tariq definitely appreciated this, right? But then Lauren tells Tariq that if he lives there, he doesn't have to stay with Brayden anymore. So Tariq says Brayden, he ain't that bad, right? He's cool. Then Lauren says, yeah, but don't you think it was weird how happy he was when Professor Reynolds died? And Tariq was like, no, Brayden didn't even know Professor Reynolds until I told him about him. So when Lauren asked Tariq if he thought Professor Reynolds' book was about Brayden, Tariq says, no, it definitely wasn't about Brayden. Professor Reynolds told me who it was about. And that was the comment that did Tariq in, okay? Because now Kamal and Whitman have motive to search Tariq's dorm, okay? Plus, it didn't help that Kamal looked into Tariq's record and found out that he was expelled from Choate for drugs. Next, Kane brings Monet Tariq's phone and tells her that he knows she sent Tariq to follow him. He also tells Monet that Tariq has a custody hearing tomorrow at 3. Then before he leaves, he tells Monet that he's not stupid no matter how many times she tells him he is. He says all this time he's been blaming Tariq for everything when it's clear to him now that Monet is the problem. He also tells Monet that she's a joke who has been playing them all. So Monet says, boy, I didn't tell you to kill Ramirez or Reynolds. I do whatever I need to do to make sure this family and this business don't fall. And that's when Kane says, that's the problem. Everything is always about family and business. Then he says, what am I to you, your soldier or your son? And Monet says, you're both. So Kane was like, then what kind of mother does that make you? And, guys, over these past few episodes, we could just see how Monet is quickly losing control of her kids, right? I mean, even Zeke has decided that he don't care what Auntie got to say anymore, right? Also, it seems like every week a kid takes a turn getting smart or coming out their face to Monet. Like last week, it was Drew who spazzed about not getting credit for raising most of the money for Zeke. But it was clear, right, that his actions, his stupid actions, landed Zeke in more trouble, okay? Now, this week, it's Kane who spazzes on Monet and accuses her of being the problem when this guy done been involved in everything that has brought this family trouble, okay? Then in the trailer for next week's episode, Diana gets smart and tells her mother that she didn't tell Monet to kill an innocent man. Meanwhile, her actions of stealing the money is what caused the man to be killed, okay? Your parents are in the game. Your family is in the game. If someone steals millions of dollars or $1 million or even whatever amount of money, most likely the penalty is going to be death. So stop, don't even try it, okay? I mean, come on now. These Tejada kids, they're really working my freaking nerves, okay? Because they're just transferring blame instead of taking accountability for their actions, right? Because all their actions were the cause for some mess. Anyway, next, Monet pulls up on Tariq and tells him that he failed and that Kane wasn't supposed to know he was being followed. So just for that, you're going to stay right here until the hearing is over. So of course, this means that a no-show will mean that he's not going to be granted custody. So Tariq tries to tell Monet that when he followed Kane, he got a name, right? Which is Mecca. But that don't mean nothing to Monet because Mecca is Dante to her, right? So then Tariq gets desperate and he tells Monet that she needs him because he's the only one she could trust. Tariq tells Monet that there's stuff going on right under her nose, like the fact that Kane switched the coke with powdered sugar just to get back in with the family, the fact that Drew continues to go to Stansfield and see Ev, and that Diana stole the money from the bar, okay? I mean, Tariq was spilling all the tea, the beans, and the soup, honey. And Monet, she had no choice but to let Tariq go and handle his business, okay? So Tariq runs into the courtroom late and things don't look good at first, right? But he makes a good argument and he is granted custody. And I didn't really see why the grandmother was so upset about it because at least Yaz is going with her brother instead of foster care, okay? Some horrible things happen in foster care, right? But anyway, this is only until she completes rehab. So another thing is that it's a temporary situation. So Yaz is not going to be with Tariq permanently, but I guess the grandmother don't care about none of that because she sees Tariq as a little demon, you know what I'm saying? So I guess that's why she's so upset about it. All right, anyway, next, Kamal finds Ramirez's badge in Tariq's room, and we already know what that means, guys. And for me, this is the part that I was talking about with Kane always up at the school. I feel like if Kamal is so smart, right? Because he kind of got on Whitman earlier, like, are you gonna freaking let me talk? I know how to do my job. I do it well and all of this stuff. And my thing is, come on, if you do your job well, you should think that it's a little too easy that you found the badge of a murdered cop in the so-called suspect's dorm room. Like, that's kind of stupid. I mean, he even was the one that said to Whitman, if Zeke killed Ramirez, why the heck would he show his PBA card? Right? And so that's the same question. If Tariq killed Ramirez, why would he take his badge and then hide it in not a good place? Like, it was hardly a hide. It was an easy find. All you had to do was freaking move that little thing and there it was. So for me, I feel like Kamal should know better. It's too easy. But anyway, guys, next, Monet tells Mecca that she's led her kids down the wrong path and it's probably time for a new start. So Mecca asks if he could meet Zeke, but Monet says that she needs some time to talk to her kids and she'll get back to him. So right here, guys, we see that Monet is choosing a life with Mecca. All right. Next, Tariq gets back on campus and Kamal arrests him for the murder of Jabari and Ramirez. So this was a pretty sad scene, and it was also embarrassing for Tariq since there were so many kids on campus, professors and all that stuff, right? Just watching Tariq get taken away. It was also annoying for me when Professor Milgram told Lauren to let Tariq go and this is what he deserves. So I'm like, okay, and you deserve to lose your job for sleeping with the student, but you still work there, okay? And yeah, Tariq, he does deserve jail time or whatever. He deserves to pay for his crimes for what he did to Jabari and his father. I mean, it's the chickens coming home to roost, right? That's a part of the title of the episode. But of all people, I don't need Carrie talking about what somebody else deserves, okay? I just can't stand the hypocrisy. Anyway, when Tariq gets to jail, the lawyer for Ghost's estate comes and gives Tariq a letter. The lawyer tells Tariq that he doesn't know what's in it, but his father told him to give it to him in the event that Tariq was arrested for homicide. So at this point, I was like, oh my gosh, Ghost, you are a freaking genius, right? And I'm all excited and things like that. But when Tariq opens the letter, it just says, I knew you would end up here someday, right where you belong. And I was like, that's it? Please tell me there's more. I mean, it was almost like it was just like a last laugh type of thing. You know what I mean? And to be honest, in my opinion, that sounds like something Kanan would say rather than Ghost. But hey, whatever. Anyway, so we get to the last scene where Monet plans to come home and talk to her kids about the plans that she has, right? But guess who's back? It's Lorenzo, honey. Lorenzo is home just like that. And only the kids are happy, okay? I know I'm not. I know some of you are not and some of you are. And for some of you that are, I don't really understand the connection that you have with Lorenzo, but to each his own. I ain't mad, you know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to bet that this guy is freaking psycho, I'll tell you that. Because look how he looked at Monet when he said, I'm home. I'm home, baby. Look at them eyes, okay? I'm telling you right now, that man is going to wreak some havoc. He's a freaking psycho. And look, let them kids be happy all they want. They're probably going to freaking mess around and see that daddy ain't everything that they think, all right? They holding him all high, blaming her for everything. Yet, a lot of them don't know that Monet is just following orders. So, are they going to realize that? That's what I would like to know. Anyway, guys, that's the video, and that was the season finale, well, the mid-season finale of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Also, I will be having a video going a little more in depth. It's going to be short, but it's going to be talking about McLean and his brother. All right, so you guys stay tuned for that. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.